introduce a famous personality in Ayurveda, Dr. Narendra Bhatt, an MD in Ayurveda and BSc in Botany, has behind him 32 years of teaching, clinical research and pharmaceutical experience, a rare combination all in one. Having a jointly held patent for development of an Ayurvedic drug for Parkinson's disease, he has about 60 research papers covering clinical and relevant research in Ayurveda and many other articles to his credit. He is keenly interested in contemporary applicability of Ayurveda through development of newer methods and models to integrate traditional knowledge base with scientific thoughts and modern technology. Dr. Bhatt is on several government committees, has been member of several international delegations, and is also member of a core group for a project on indigenous knowledge for health under Global and Research Alliance, an initiative supported by World Bank. He is actively contributed to development of ADMA and ISTEM. Sir, even though you are a CEO of Jandu Pharmaceuticals, considering your profound experience in Ayurvedic research, may I request you to give a talk speech on science initiative in Ayurveda, the other side of the need. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tanuja, for kind words. Respected and revered Dr. Valiyathan, my tutor in research, Dr. Ashok Vaidya, Dr. Imla Thatte, with whom I had the opportunity of working, and Dr. Lavekar, with whom I have shared room in Podar quarters 30 years back, Dr. Bhatkar, ladies and gentlemen. As you could see the title, our title is at the other side of the need. And somewhere I'm turning out to be the maverick in this meeting. Science, as I understand, initially excites you. Then it confuses you. And then at the end of the outcome, either you feel very elevated, you feel very satisfied, or you remain anxious, unsatisfied, distorted. If I look at the science initiatives, and I have great respect for the kind of work that has been presented today, and much is required to be done, I have purposely decided to take the other side of the table. When I look at science, the need of science is the ability. Many years back, I used to have a slide by Samuel Johnson, the essence of knowledge is having it to apply it. Science without application has no meaning. And one question which I'm asking for the last 30 years is that whatever the research has been conducted in this country, how many of these have become the day-to-day approach of an Ayurvedic practitioner, of Ayurvedic industry, Ayurvedic education, and how it has enriched us? If you look at the quantum that has gone into it, the amount of efforts that have gone into it, the outcome is comparatively very, very meager when you compare with the inputs vis-a-vis the output. I think it is that story, and we have to ask those questions. Why is it that we have not been able to adapt to the newer situations? I tried to look at it, and the simple explanation which I get as I was talking with Dr. Vaidya just now is the adaptability to the language of science and language of Ayurveda. We are trying to adapt, but we are trying to adapt in pieces. If I want to understand a language, first I have to understand my language. Anybody who is going to call mom is going to call ma or mom initially because that is his mother tongue. And it is from that traits derive to understand the other languages. I think there is something which we need to do about this adaptability to language, because we have huge manpower of about 600,000 Ayurvedic practitioners in this country. We are adding 9,000 every year. We have 270 institutes, and what are they supposed to deliver in terms of the healthcare of the people of this country? If science has to contribute towards the healthcare of this country, then there is a need to change the paradigm and shift the fulcrum, as Dr. S.K. Sharma said, from what we have been doing in a peripheral way into something which is more centralized. We have respect for science, and let me give an example. In fact, many times I feel that excuse me, Dr. Vaidya, but biomedical researchers may not be able to understand as much as physicists will be able to understand. I get more excited when I listen to Dr. Mashelkar or Dr. Bhatkar because they are able to understand and appreciate this system in little more and more neutral fashion, rather than in a selective fashion. And let me explain you this. Physics and biology are merged together in Ayurveda. Ayurveda is not a medical science. It is a system which is a knowledge base where physics takes the turn of biology, expresses the terms with the biology, and that is where Ayurveda begins. That is the basis of Ayurveda. When we think in terms of Panch Mahabhutas, we are talking in terms of physical parameters. When physical parameters with a different biological situation expresses itself, they become biological attributes. The physical attributes take a biological form, and that is where the whole concept of Pinda and Brahmanda comes into existence as microcosm and macrocosm. If we are looking at disease as a disarray between microcosm and macrocosm, there is a need for us to understand the physical and biological parameters in an equal fashion. Now, if we continue to do that only from the biological processes, I'm afraid it will take very long time. Yes, there will be an endpoint, but it will take much, much longer time than what is capable, what the Ayurvedic knowledge base is capable of delivering. If we cannot exploit the capacity of Ayurveda, the skills that it can provide you after the knowledge base it is, I think we'll be failing in our duty to create newer and newer contemporary applications of Ayurveda for the today's time. And that is where my scientific initiatives have to be. And let me give you some examples. I have been part of the processes. Tanuja gave a lot of examples of that. And still, I feel that I could have done it much more if there was a structure which was available to do that. We think in terms of diseases. But every time we look at the clinical data that is available, I know of many friends, Vilas is here, Ramesh Nandal, we have been thinking about and writing about Lakshan Samprapti for ages now, 20, 22 years. Why there is no one single activity which has been taken up to understand the symptomata of Ayurveda in a language that we can provide a newer dimension to the whole structure of diseases. It is a great endeavor by the people 20 years back. We used to sit together and say, there is a Lakshana Samprapti. There is a Samprapti which is of Shat Kriyakal, and then there is a Lakshana which could be affected or a manifestation of a variety of clinical disorder situations. Then we think of modern research, and then we think of diseases. I think of Pandu, that is simple anemia. I think of cirrhosis. I think of ascites, and I think of renal disorders. According to Ayurveda, we are able to link this together. I still have to see an approach, a structure, which is going to satisfy this kind of approach. We are still trying to find out what is useful in one, what is useful in second, what is useful in third. Long back, 1976, 30 years back, we started working on hepatitis. We still have to see one drug in hepatitis in the country which could be utilized by either an allopathy or Ayurvedic doctor in the country. Because hepatitis is a process which manifests itself in a different form, and why is it that we are refusing to understand the whole mechanism, sir? I think this is where we need to put our efforts, and then only we'll be able to do something better. Has we tried to understand how liver is so predominantly important in the Ayurvedic understanding of diseases? Have we tried to understand what is the role of Srotasas, what is the role of Saptadhatus, and what is the role of Saratva, examination of patients, and what not? On the other hand, I see a title, last Sunday's Times of India carried a paper on the center page about the long-haul travels, when a person travels from one to the other by 16 to 24 hours, which leads to diabetes. Now, they are doing it after epidemiological study of many years, whereas an average Ayurvedic physician, when he practices, he knows कि बाबा तुम travel कर रहे हो, you are going to have diabetes. These are one of the reasons. We have seen, we have experienced, and we have observed that people who travel in air-conditioned cars and continuously remain, who are not ready to adapt to the nature, they end up with diabetes because the metabolic rate goes down. That metabolic rate leads to what we call as Manda Agni, which leads to the Madhumeha formation. How many of us are ready to look at it from that point of view? We are looking at a variety of things. We are looking at the circadian rhythms. We are looking at biorhythms. We are looking at, or we are knowing about certain things like the latest, we are talking about genomes, let's say. Sir, you have given a good word of Ayurvedic biology. I always used to feel 20 years back, the research in Ayurveda should have been done by more of modern physiologists, biochemists, and Ayurvedic experts. Then it would have delivered little better things than what it does. I think these are the things which we need to do. That is why I purposely took this subject of the other side, that what kind of scientific initiatives are required in this country. I'm also going to direct 2-3 main questions. One is, if the science has to be enriched, essentially science is meant for enrichment of knowledge, an application for the carry in this case, the provision. I would like to know where does the Ayurvedic institutes of this country stand when it comes to the research. And the reasons are obvious. We have tried to institutionalize our education. We are trying to professionalize our profession of Ayurveda from a single physician to an institutionalized structure which is dependent on industry, which is dependent on many other factors, and not on individual decision making, as it used to be. And similarly, the growth of knowledge base is required to be done by institutional approaches and not by an individual input. I was just talking with Dr. Vaidya just now. Till mid-60s and 70s, where very learned scholars, my seniors are here, we used to have new books which were coming with the new ideas of physiology adopted in the books in the Ayurvedic curriculum. I still recollect Kriya Sharir of Ranjit Rai Desai. I still recollect Shilva Sastram from Dr. Harishankar Sharma. I still recollect Nigantu Adarsh of Bapalal Bai. But in last 25 to 30 years, we suddenly find there is a lacuna of that. We have stopped adopting because we have stopped thinking. Because the institutional structure has created a situation where we are confused. And I think, sir, you are in the right position. There are people here sitting, and that is why I'm raising this issue. I think we need to address this issue at the fundamental level. We talk about fundamental research. We talk about literary research. We talk about applicability of research. I'm still waiting for that to happen, which will affect the whole sector. And I think these are the few areas where we need to take science initiatives, because I'm expanding the base of science, not as you rightly said, as something which is modern, which is Western, but science is curiosity, creating questions in the mind of the performer or the user or a student or a teacher, and trying to create methods and means to satisfy it. If this is the definition of the word science, then the initiatives that are required by us have to be complementary, supplementary, and supportive of the system that it comes from. Unless we do that, we'll not be able to have the global impact which we are wishing. Fortunately, in last 20 years, and this is fortunately because if this would have happened 30, 40 years back, we would not have possible. But fortunately, we have now the support of information technology. So you mentioned about only one program. Dr. Vaidya proposed that what Medha and other people have done in CDEC and what started many years back has given a tremendous, important and significant tool for you to go for knowledge management. It was physically not possible for us to go through the whole process. And now we have used an important tool to address and then bridge that gap which is existing between scientific knowledge, what we call as information today, of modern biomedical sciences, and what is available in Ayurvedic text. What we need is a language, a structure, a process to bridge this. I'm aware about several projects which have been taken up. Some places have been part of it, some places not. But what I'm worried about it, if we go in a piecemeal fashion, will we be able to contribute that? And that is where my basic questions are coming. I think we need to take newer and newer scientific initiatives, whereas these are necessary. The peripheral approach is also necessary, which one I propose is the vertical and horizontal approach. Ayurveda gives you a base where you can go from the horizontal approach to the vertical at multi-level, and in standardization also about 50 days back, I proposed a matrix model for standardization. We are blindly trying to follow the Western model of prescription versus non-prescription products, and we are trying to satisfy the need of dietary supplements as expected by the US FDA, whereas they are eager to find solutions. And the solutions can come out of your approaches if you go for multi-level standardization, depending on what the product is, decide where the raw material is important, decide where the process is important, decide where the finished product is important, based on the therapeutic specificity. If the therapeutic range is wider, like Chyawanprash, then you have to concentrate on more on the raw material and standardization processes. If you are going for kind kind of a multi-ingredient product, then your approach will be in terms of process, standard, and some sort of a standardization which is going to be effective. And if you are going for a specific drug for a disease like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, maybe you have to have everything as required by the modern protocol. We are trying to look into the BUSMAS approach, and I'm very unhappy to observe that we are trying to look at it, that, okay, there is a model to say that, okay, each and every BUSMA is to be studied for the toxicological studies, and what amount of money will be spent for that. What is required to do is, let us look at the processes. If you look at the processes and standardize the processes, you are resolving the basic issue of detoxification. If you can standardize the process of detoxification as described in Ayurveda, then you will not be required to do the toxicological studies that you need and to identify the efficacy parameters that you need after the BUSMAS. I think we need an Ayurvedic approach to decide what we want to do for the contemporary applications. In terms of diseases, in terms of drugs, in terms of therapeutics, I think we need to change. We need to change our approach. We are talking about preventive, promotive, and curative cares. We are talking about N equal to 1. At the same time, we are talking about multi-centric, multinational, international. Yesterday, there was a paper, multi-centric clinical trial. Welcome. We are here to be exploited and will be utilized. But at the same time, how it is going to enrich the knowledge base of Ayurveda and the contribution to the healthcare of the people of not only this country, but global. If we want to have global impact, we have to go to the fundamentals. We have to evolve models, research methodologies, which are based on this, and that is where we need integration. The integration in terms of not by talk, but integrated models where we create linkages. We cannot afford to have only one NAIR center taking care of it. We have to have 200 NAIR centers, Urmila. We need to have more and more centers which are going to be respectfully interacting with each other. We cannot have a system where we are looking at peripheral, here is the money available, take the projects and enjoy what you want to do. I think we need to have an integrated, objective and national agenda. That is all what I would say. Thank you.